We're just going to do a sign. It says, at my age, I need glasses. I thought that would be funny. So that's what we're going to do. So we just got this piece of wood, and it is, so it's just a 12 by 12 1/4 inch piece of wood. I don't like to use stain that much on these kinds of things because the reason is that one, they take a long time to dry and they're kind of greasy. This way takes a whole lot less time to dry. So generally what I do, take some paint, I will either use a baby wipe or I'll water it down. So what we're going to do today is we're going to water a little bit down because I of course forgot my baby wipes. Alright, so you see I have a little paint in there. I'm just going to put a little water. Well, we need a little bit more than that. Okay, now let's see. So it's basically like a whitewash. Have you ever heard of that? The whitewash method. So that's what this is. It's basically like a whitewash. Okay, so it's just paint and water. Okay. So this is how I simulate stain when I just have paint, or I don't feel like messing with stains. I can tell you I stained everything in this store and it's a royal pain. So we're going to use paint and make it look the same. Okay. There we go. See how that looks? Looks like stain, right? Oh, I'm going to have to make some more. You want to go with the grain of the wood, just like you would with stain. This right here is burnt umber. It's just apple barrel. Okay. Just put a little water in there. You don't need a lot of water. Just enough to kind of make it very kind of liquidy. You want to go one direction. Okay. There we go. So I'll just take a little bit of a towel and kind of wipe it off a little bit. Look. It looks like stain, right? Isn't that cool? It looks just like stain. And I tell you, it's a whole lot cheaper than stain. So the next time you don't have stain, this is what you do. You just water down your paint. Or you can put your paint on with a baby wipe. This method, I think it goes on a little bit thicker than when you do it with a baby wipe. And you get a very similar look. So, either way is good. I could zoom in a little bit so y'all can see a little better. Crazy these days. My allergies, they're just awful. Okay, there we go. Probably have to do a little more. Okay, so same thing. There we go. So you can see how liquidy it is, right? It's pretty liquidy. Okay. The more water you put, the lighter the coat. The more paint you put, the darker the coat. So that's kind of the rule of thumb with the water. Okay. There we go. Okay. And we'll take our little towel. And wipe it off. So this will pull off any excess, and it makes it what quote unquote stain the wood better, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're staining the wood. I like to do the edges too. Sometimes the edges come out looking pretty charred, and if they are, I don't stain the edges. If they don't look charred, I do. I personally kind of like that charred look, so that's why I do that, but you can paint right over it too. There we go. So you can see what the edges look like. Okay. Now, so I'm going to figure out where I want to put it on the sign. And then I'm going to use some painter's tape. Okay. So you just want to keep it in place. That's what the painter's tape is for. And I like to use painter's tape because then it won't stick to anything, right? So you won't accidentally take something up. There we go. One good thing about this stencil, okay, this is a mylar stencil. You can tell mylar stencils because they're a little bit thicker, right? So these are reusable. These are the kind of stickers that are reusable. So one thing you can do before you start is kind of go over it with the stuff that you just stained it with. This can actually help it not bleed through, and I'm pouncing, if you can tell. So pounce, 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 pounce. So if you did it with stain, you would do this with stain. If you did it with paint, you would do it with paint. So on and so forth. Okay. Got a little bit of this little creasy thing here. Let's grab that. This is just one method to kind of help keep the stuff from kind of spilling over. You can use Mod Podge, but honestly, just putting a little bit of what you used and then using the pounce and not doing too much at a time works really, really well. So that's what I like to do. So when I'm doing this part, I like to use a paintbrush. So I want a paintbrush that has kind of a little, almost like a rounded edge. I have a bigger one. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, right there. Okay. So that's the one I want to use. I already have these. Okay. So we're going to use a little bit of white. Okay. So when we did the deer tray the other day, we did the same thing. So we kind of unload some of it and then pounce on here. You want to be careful, just pounce lightly. You don't want to move that stencil in any way because then it won't come out crisp. Okay, so unload some, then pounce. You can come back and make it darker. You just don't want to do too much and you don't want to overload it. Just kind of quick pouncing. Here, let's move it a little bit so y'all can see. Like that. Then I'm just grabbing some from the edge. And you see, I just go like this, just like that. Like that. Yeah, I still have some left on the paper. If it feels like the stencil's picking up, I'll just put my hand near it and kind of hold it down. And then when I need some more, I'll just reload it, offload it, and then start again. Okay. I'm gonna skip these and come back to them. All right, so it looks pretty good. Might do a little bit more right here. But I think it looks pretty good. All right, so I want to do the wine glasses, but I want to do them a little bit differently. So I'm going to use this antique parchment because I want it to look more like white wine. And I'm going to use black for the bottom, for the little base. First, let's get a little bit of the brown and just kind of outline just a little bit more. There. This one's much bigger. Okay. I want to do the kind of cream color first. So same thing, pounce, pounce, pounce. Even in the middle where there's a lot, I'm still gonna pounce because I don't want it to look any different than on the rest. Okay. You can see a little bit better, right? Since it has such a big area. Okay. Do black this time. I'll be a little bit careful here so I don't get it into the cream area. Okay. So very gently up there. Because if I go too fast, I'll accidentally get it in the other area. Which you can always fix it, but I'd rather not have to do that. There. Alright, let's see. If I got it well, I think so. Black is a lot more forgiving than the others, so you don't have to do as much. So now, I'm going to take this off. Now we just lift it up. And I'll wash that off. Putting my finger in it. Look how cute that is. I have one little area right here I need to fix, but other than that, it looks pretty dang good. Yeah, it looks good. Okay. So I'll let it dry, and then once it dries, I'll put some of this on it. This is the polyacrylic. And what this does is it'll seal it so that, you know, nothing's going to scrape it off. It's not going to have any problems. It's just going to look great. And then once it's dry and I seal it, then we can come back and put the hanger on it and make a little bow. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow. For this, okay. See, the good thing is that if you do the little bit of stain first, then if something kind of comes under it, it's the stain and not the paint. Or the stain paint. Isn't that cute? You could do red in there if you wanted. But I think it turned out really cute. Awesome.